my friends. We are currently editing my second book, Dying with Regrets. This chapter now is one of the most important chapters that is in the book, so you want to stay to the end, seriously. The title of the chapter is called Death, something which we're all going to face. So look, stay to the end, make sure you listen to this and pay attention. Death. This was something I had been petrified of my whole life. And during my darkest of days, it was in fact a desired destination. The only reason I didn't commit suicide was because I was that scared of death. So thankfully for me, I managed to use my fear in my favour. However, after flipping my mindset and realising the complete certainty of death, I replaced fear with fuel. So rather than procrastinating, I used that fear as power to push and propel me to get things done promptly. This is what I call mortality motivation. I had always said that I wanted to live forever, but this changed now that I had come to the terms with my own mortality. Knowing that death is a certain puts urgency into me living my life. Because it's not about the years in your life, but it's really about the life in your years. If I knew that there was always tomorrow, then there would be no hurry to get up and chase my dreams each day. The real tragedy isn't dying, but dying before you've ever truly lived. And realise that it doesn't take dying to want to live. So don't fear dying, fear not truly living. The truth is that tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so never put off what can be done today until tomorrow. Because tomorrow may never come, and time does not slow down or stop for anyone. We all need to be like time and just keep going, keep pushing forwards, and keep moving towards our greater goals. Time is an equalizer because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but what you decide to do with your days is down to you. You should actually fear running out of time before you've turned your dreams into your reality. Because the life you want is waiting, but the life you have is fading. So make the choices now whilst you still can. There is a space between being born and dying, and this experience is what we call life. We as humans all have two lives, but the second begins only when we realise that we just have one. The truth is, we have all been dying since the day we were born, and nobody is getting out of this alive. Just think, today is the oldest you have ever been, but the youngest you will ever be. Your time is not forever, so use it wisely, because at some point we all run out of time. Nothing lasts forever, not even you. What matters most is how fully you live right now in this present moment, present and only moment. So why limit yourself? Just ask yourself these 3 questions. Or 4 questions actually. Just ask yourself these questions. 1 is, am I truly living my life to its fullest? Am I heading towards my dreams and goals? Am I spending time making happy memories with family and friends? Am I happy doing what I do every day? Regrets happen at different stages of our lives. Teenage years, adulthood, and then the later years. Examples are, I should have asked that girl out. I should have quit that job to follow my passion. I should have invested in my health, hobbies and relationships. We will all undoubtedly regret something along our journey of life because regret is inevitable. The goal of life is not to completely eliminate regret because that is truly impossible, but to minimise it as much as possible. Whether you are rich, poor, old or young, we all have those same 24 hours in a day. The real truth is that you can fail at doing something which you don't want, so you may as well take a chance on doing something which you love. An uncomfortable freedom is always outweighs a safe slavery. So don't fear death, fear living a life unlived. I don't want to be on my deathbed knowing that there was so much more I could have given to this wonderful world. Ponder your own death every single day, as contemplating your death puts urgency into getting things done. Death puts positive pressure into fully living, So let the reality of death put importance into achieving all the things you want to do in your life, knowing full well that your time could be up at any given moment. You may feel as if it's morbid to constantly think about death, but it's actually beneficial to put into perspective just how precious this life really is. In fact, it's unhealthy to live in denial of death and to not consider what's inevitable. Only a fool would go through life unprepared for what we all know will eventually happen to each and every single one of us. You're going to die, maybe not tomorrow and maybe not even the next day, but certainly and eventually you will. And when that day does come, you won't care about how many emails you answered, how impressive your resume looked, or how you performed for people who now barely even remember your name. What you will care about deeply is whether your life meant something and whether it actually mattered. But meaning doesn't arrive at the end like a trophy handed out at the finish line. It's created now in the way you live, the choices you make, the truths you speak, and the love you give. It's chosen every day through the things you dare to care about. Whatever you are currently doing, just ask yourself, am I doing what I want? Am I doing exactly what I want to right now? Of course, it's sometimes not possible to do what you want all day, every day. But if you find yourself doing things you don't want to do more days than you are doing the things you really want to do, then you need to change something. Because if nothing changes, then nothing changes. Seriously think about it. If nothing changes, this is as good as your life gets. Are you okay with that? You don't need to live a perfect life. You just need to live a true one. And you don't need to completely change everything overnight. But you really need to stop lying to yourself. Start by answering and reflecting on these questions. Am I living a life true to myself or just doing what's expected? What have I abandoned that once made me feel alive? Who do I need to say something to before it's too late? Have I become someone I would respect? When was the last time I felt truly at peace? What would I change if I knew no one would judge me? Am I spending this life or am I just passing time? If I died tonight, what would remain unfinished in my soul? What kind of human do I want to be remembered as? What do I not want to regret when I die? What's one small step I can take towards what really matters most? Just imagine you managed to meet your maker, your creator, and they asked you, how was your time on earth? Did you do everything you wanted to do? Did you say everything you wanted to say? Did you go everywhere you wanted to go? And did you help all of the people who you wanted to help? Suppose you said, life was okay, but there was so much more that I wanted to do. Your creator then replies with, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm afraid there is no going back. That was your one and only chance. How would you feel? Envision this. You are both sat down opposite each other, and on the desk in front of you are two big books. They point at the first book and they say, this is the manual that I had created for what your life should have looked like. You open it up and see all the amazing things you could and should have experienced during your lifetime. Then they point at the second manual and say, this is what your life actually looked like. Sure, it's been okay, but nothing significant happened. As you flick through, you soon notice page after page of blank nothingness and are instantly overwhelmed with resentment, responsibility and regret, knowing full well you can never reapply to return and reattempt to relive the life that was there for you all along. So my question to you is, how desperately do you really want it? Because it's right there in front of you and it's ready for the taking, but you have to reach out and grab it with both hands. Take action now. Don't wait for the manual, make the manual. Because hell is the experience when you die, you meet the person you were meant to be. When you are going on holiday and you need to pack your bags, when is it that you are usually most productive? I believe it's the day before you leave. Because you know you have a definite deadline which is rapidly approaching, you then increase your efforts to accomplish the task ahead. Your yearning to go on that holiday drives you to go above and beyond your initial efforts to fulfill your future desires. You often stay up all night long making sure that you have everything packed and ready to go. But just imagine if you applied this same concept to your life and to achieving your future goals. Would you increase your current daily efforts knowing that death is definite and that life's timer is rapidly ticking? Hypothetically speaking, you went to visit your doctor with just a headache. However, the doctor checks you over and says, "I'm sorry to inform you that something really bad has happened and that you have exactly 12 months left to live." What would you do differently from that very moment onwards? How would you live life knowing this was your last year on earth? Would you let fear hold you back and control your life? The reality is, something like this could happen to any of us at any point in time. So don't ever put off until tomorrow what you can do today. Because tomorrow is not guaranteed. All we ever had and will ever have is this very moment right now. Death is the greatest of all Death is the greatest of all educators, as it makes you pay close attention to this present moment. The reason many fear death is because of all the things they would be losing, mainly the things they were yet to discover, see and experience that their future selves would be missing out on. So ask yourself these questions. What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to start doing? And what do I need to continue doing? Although death is definite, nobody can give you a definite day of death. Sure, doctors and specialists can give you an assumption based on many different factors, but even then, I have known individuals to live much longer than initially predicted, and also on the other hand, sadly some people have been expected to live much longer than their actual date of departure. Steve Jobs also spoke about facing mortality and how it influenced his perspective on life. He recounted a significant experience of being diagnosed with, I can't even say this, how do I say this word? With cancer, which is a life-threatening illness. Jobs described how receiving this diagnosis was a stark reminder of his own mortality and the fleeting nature of life. Instead of succumbing to despair, Jobs chose to use this realization as a catalyst for living much more purposefully and authentically. The lesson from Jobs' story is that confronting the reality of death can inspire us to prioritize what truly matters in life. It encourages us to make the most of our time, pursue our passions and cherish each of our relationships. In our own lives, reflecting on mortality can serve as a powerful motivator to focus on meaningful goals and values, and by acknowledging our limited time on earth, we can cultivate a sense of urgency and to pursue our dreams and create a positive impact in the world. His experience with illness reminds us to appreciate each day, embrace opportunities, and live with intention. It underscores the importance of living authentically and making choices aligned with our values and aspirations. Ultimately, Jobs' story encourages us to confront our fears about mortality and use them as a catalyst for personal growth and fulfillment. By embracing the reality of death, we can gain a deeper appreciation for life and strive to make a meaningful impact during our time here. Reflecting on his perspective on death invites us all to live courageously, love passionately, and leave a lasting legacy that transcends our earthly existence. It reminds us that our time is precious and each moment presents an opportunity to create a life of purpose and significance. For a very long time, the deep-rooted fear of death cast a shadow over my life, and quite often left me motionless with my decision making. But only up until the most recent years, due to my own choices, once you realise the reality of your passing, your procrastination will cease to exist. Because we can either let fear cripple us, or we can use it as power to propel us to take uncomfortable action and move forward in our lives. The fear of dying held me back for so many years. However, I have come to realise that my fear wasn't dying, but was actually fear of living a life on somebody else's terms and conditions, to not follow my passions, and to die with unidentified and unused potential still stuck inside me. As far as we are aware, we only have one opportunity at this thing called life. So why wouldn't we do everything in our capability to fulfill every precious day that we have on this wonderful planet, and to become the very best versions of ourselves? Whilst in a coma, I wasn't conscious to decide whether to turn my life support machine off or not, and it was totally in somebody else's control. I have noticed that many people who are alive and well have unconsciously pulled the plug on their own. Because death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside us whilst we live. Benjamin Franklin once said, most people die at 25 but aren't buried until they are 75. Because the graveyard is one of the wealthiest places on this earth. Just imagine all of those undiscovered and unused talents, skills and abilities that cease to exist. All of those would-haves, could-haves and should-haves that the world never had exposure to. And I personally don't want to perish filled with potential. Do you? Many people are just existing, believing that tomorrow is guaranteed, but death is inevitable. Knowing this, why are you not running towards your dream life as if you were on fire? And to end that chapter, I wrote here, I want to see what life looks like if I never give up. Just listen to those words that I said in that chapter. Go back, listen to it again. Share it with someone that you think may need this little kick up the arse to start pursuing their dreams and to not stay stuck somewhere they don't belong. Because, look, we've got one opportunity, my friends. One opportunity. Who knows what's next? We can't guarantee what's next. Everyone's got their opinions. I've got my opinions, but it's not a guarantee. So look, go out there. Start making moves towards a life that you can't wait to wake up to. And before you know, one day you will be waking up to that life. Thank you so much, my friends. If you want to get on the wait list, visit dyingwithregrets.ryannurse.com. Click the link in my bio, send me a DM, comment on this video, and I'll hook you up, my friends. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Speak to you soon. Goodbye. Thank you.